One of my favorite seasons of a TV series is season 3 of The Sinner. Very, very brilliant season. If you haven't watched this show, please watch it. I'm telling you, it's a very, very brilliant TV show. I'm telling you. I actually suggest that you start by watching season 3. Every season is different, so you don't have to start by watching the first season. Just watch season 3. It's about this guy who was a very, very deep thinker. He was questioning everything. He was questioning existence. He was questioning morality. He was questioning life. And he would have deep conversations with people. You'd actually relate to most of the things that he would say. He was real. He was living life in the most honest way. You have to understand that people do not live life in an honest way. People lie to themselves a lot. I remember I was having a conversation in one of the scenes where he was telling this lady the truth. And she said, "That's such a hard way to live life." And he said, "Well, it's honest. You know, everyone is a hypocrite." And this lady said, "Maybe that's the only way to live life. Maybe we have to be hypocrites." I love that part, because human beings are hypocrites. They're not honest. They're not living life in the most honest way possible. To accept the truth is to self-destruct. It's like you have to lie to yourself in order to live in this world. You mustn't tell yourself the truth. When you have a child, you mustn't tell yourself what it really means to have a child. Because if you really going to tell yourself the truth, you might end up not having that child. In one of the scenes, he was having a conversation with his woman. She was pregnant. He was like, "Do you think God exists? Do you think there's a higher power that came up with this grand design? Do you feel like you know why we're here? Or what happens when we die?" You don't. It's all a total mystery. In spite of all of that, we're bringing a child into this fucked up existence. And one day we're going to have to break it down to them that they're going to die. And his woman said, "We're having a child to have more love in our lives." We're having a child to have more life in our lives. I thought I was disappointed in humanity, but I felt more disappointed because I know that that's exactly how an average person would respond. That's exactly how an average person would respond. That reminded me of how people respond to some of my biggest questions. Like, people are not matching life's energy. They're not living life in the most honest way. They're not responding to life in the most honest way. Life can do anything and they're not going to respond to it in the most honest way. They do not match life's energy. If life was a person, if that person insulted them, they will say, "Well, this person know what they're doing. I should just take it, try to be strong, try to be optimistic." And that's it. That's how they would respond to that person. But that guy wouldn't respond that way. He would fight back, or he would insult them back. You see, he was real. We're not matching life's energy. We lie to ourselves. Life can do anything to us, but we do not respond to it with the same energy. When people die horrible death, we don't say, well, that means that, well, life itself is horrible. Like, no, there's some higher power. This higher power knows why all of that happened, and there's a plan. There's a plan. We just have to trust the process. Blah, blah. Like, no, we don't know anything, and because we do not know anything, we shouldn't be telling ourselves stories about what is happening. We mustn't try to be optimistic. We must try to figure out what the truth is, rather than trying to be optimistic. Because people think that being optimistic is good, right? Like, you must be optimistic no matter what. Even when negative things are happening, you must be optimistic. No, you must be real. Do you think that what is happening is good? If you think that what is happening is not good, you mustn't be optimistic. If you think that what is happening is good, then be optimistic. Be real. See, people are hypocrites. And that's really scary. People are hypocrites. I remember in one of the scenes, he was having a conversation with this other lady. And I was telling her the truth. He was not lying to her, I was telling her the truth. And she said, that's such a hard way to live life. And he said, it's honest. And she said, that's hard. Like, that must be hard. You must talk to someone, you need help. And he said, no, we're hypocrites. And he said, and she said, maybe that's the only way to live life. Maybe we must tell ourselves lies. We must tell ourselves lies. Maybe the truth is dangerous. And that's true, the truth is dangerous. Maybe if you're going to be really real, you're going to be destructive. Because the truth is wicked. It's not like the truth is beautiful. If you're going to be real about a lot of things, there's going to be serious consequences. If you are going to be real about what it means to have a child, you're not going to have children, right? If you're going to be real about what it means to be in love, you're not going to date anyone. If you're going to be real about what it means to have a job, to wake up in the morning, go to work for 8 hours every day, if you're going to tell yourself the truth about what it means to do that, you're not going to have a job. If you're going to tell yourself the truth about what it even means to be alive, to not know what is going on, to not have a purpose, how are you going to go on? So it's like you kind of have to lie to yourself. You kind of have to tell yourself that no, there is a God, right? There is a God, and this God has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He knows why we're here. He sees everything. He knows what we're gonna do before we do anything. He was here before anything began. He's eternal. He created everything, and he loves us. But that's just wishful thinking. We have no evidence of God's existence, meaning that we actually have zero reasons to create religion. Like, we have zero reasons to create religion. I do understand that we wish that God existed, but we don't know if he exists. We just wish that he exists. And we are going through a lot as humans because we are more conscious than other animals. I mean, at least that's what I think. Who knows? But we're very conscious. And because we're very conscious, there are a lot of things that we are able to see that are fucked up. We are able to see that these things are really fucked up. You know, we do not lie to ourselves as much as other animals lie to themselves. We are much more honest with ourselves. Not like completely honest, you know, but we kind of more honest because of our level of consciousness. So when bad things happen, we know that these things are bad. Like we are able to tell that, okay, what has happened is actually wrong. But we tell ourselves lies about what has happened. But animals can't even tell right from wrong. Like a horrible thing can happen and they might not tell themselves that what has happened is actually horrible. So that's why I say we are more conscious than animals. So we're able to say that, okay, there are a lot of things that are happening that are actually horrible, and we do not know why these horrible things are happening. So we tell ourselves that no, there has to be a creator, and he might be testing us. Maybe we should try to be good people. Maybe we should try to love one another. Maybe we must try to not sin, you know. People who came up with religion felt like some things were taboo, and they felt like God hates these things. Like if people lie, that's, you know what I mean, when, or if people, you know, turn gay, like, yo, that's horrible, because as a human, you're not gonna feel like that's normal. Like if a person becomes gay, like you're not gonna feel that like that's normal. So, you know, people who came up with different religions, because already people felt like something was wrong, they've actually, you know, started preaching to people that, oh, that is actually wrong. Even if it's not wrong, it's just that it's something that we are not used to as a society. It's something that is different, you see. And we do not expect people to be that way. We don't expect people to marry people. Like we don't expect women to marry other women. We don't expect men to marry other men. That is the thing. But we're not completely being honest with ourselves, because people didn't choose how they're going to be, who they are going to be attracted to, how they're going to feel, how they're going to think, how they're going to understand life. Everyone is different. That is the thing. Everyone is different. Each and every person in this world is different. So if we're truly being honest with ourselves, every person who is here because life put them here. The universe put them here as they are. So if we're being honest with ourselves, we can't judge them. We can't say, oh, you are evil because you are a man and you're attracted to other men, or you are a woman and you're attracted to other women. You see, we're not being completely honest with ourselves. See, the truth is that people are fake and they're hypocrites. And yeah, it seems to be the only way to live life, because if we're going to be honest with ourselves, then we'll destroy this world. You see, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we'll totally destroy this world. Because how would we live? How? We're not going to have children because having children is wrong. Right? That is something that is obvious, and that is something that people shouldn't even be debating about. It's obvious and it is true. It is true that you are creating a new person who didn't ask to be created. And yes, you cannot ask someone who doesn't exist if you can create them. But yes, that person didn't consent to being created, and you want to now force them to live in a world where life is truly difficult. And if they say, nah, something is wrong here, other people, yourself included, are going to say, well, no, you have mental issues, you need help, blah blah. Yeah, and then you torture that person because you do not even understand that person. Maybe that person is realer than you are. You see, that person is not average, that person is abnormal. You see, there are people who are just normal, and there are people who are abnormal, and there are people who are subnormal, like below normal. That person is just beyond you. They're not normal, they're not like you, but that doesn't mean that you're better than them. No, they're actually better than you because they're able to see things that you do not see. They're able to ask questions that you do not ask because you are operating at a very low level of consciousness compared to them. You see, society is operating at a very low level of consciousness. I truly felt disappointed when that lady said, we are having children to have more love in our lives, because I knew that that is exactly how people would respond. They do not match life's energy. When horrible things happen, they just tell themselves that the universe or God knows what he's doing. No. People die horribly and we lie to ourselves. People suffer their whole lives and we lie to ourselves. I remember I saw this comment. I haven't responded to it yet because I was walking. I was just paraphrase, but I think this person was saying that maybe life itself isn't bad. It just seems bad at the micro level, right? At a micro level, it seems bad because we're not seeing everything. Maybe there are things that are happening for the greater good. Maybe this will all make sense at a macro level. Like when you look at everything, maybe it's going to make sense. So because we're not able to see everything, we're only just able to see life from our perspectives, and the universe is big. There are other planets, other galaxies, other universes, you know what I mean? And the universe is always expanding. So maybe what is happening is actually good, but we're not able to see everything. What needs to be understood is this. Every perspective matters. Right? Every perspective matters. So if my perspective is limited, and because my perspective is limited, and I cannot know some things because I'm not conscious enough to know these things, and I'm suffering because my perspective is limited. I do not see what is happening at a macro level, right? I do not see what's happening, and maybe what's happening is actually good. It doesn't mean that what is happening to me is good. No, because I'm still suffering, right? Just because good things are happening somewhere doesn't mean that I'm not suffering. I'm suffering because I do not know what I need to know. You see, so to me, what is happening is not good. And my perspective matters. That is the problem. Because that will mean that I'm a slave. What I have to go through, I'm going through it for the greater good, even though I'm suffering because of it. Humans want to be in control of their own lives because They themselves are entities. All right? They themselves are entities. They are able to ask themselves very, very deep questions. They are self-aware. They don't remember being created by anything. It seems like life is just continuing to exist through them. So they are entities themselves. So they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to be slaves. Because they are already conscious enough to know that slavery does exist. And when they are being treated like slaves, they know that we are being treated like slaves and we do not like it. You see, so it is not good to abuse someone, even if you feel like what is happening is for the greater good. If a person feels abused, they are being abused. Right? That is why consent is important. The truth is, we have no clue what is going on, and that alone is a good reason for us to stop doing some things that we are doing. Because there are some things that we're doing that we should only do if we knew what is going on. One of those things is having children. You must only have children if you know what is going on. Because if your child asks you what is going on and you don't tell them what is going on, then that means you're wrong. You bring someone into a world that you do not understand. And on top of that, the world itself is fucked up. It's not like you're bringing them into a world where everything is beautiful, you know? Like life is just all sunshine and rainbows. No, it's not. It's a fucked up existence. So that fact alone should make you reconsider the fact that you know nothing. I believe that every person who's truly intelligent, once they realize that they know nothing, they should actually reach that conclusion. Or if they don't reach that conclusion because that's not what they be thinking about, when another person actually tells them that, yo man, because we don't know what is going on, I don't think having children is actually a good idea, they will actually understand that that actually makes sense. Because it's true. That's living life in the most honest way. I don't know what is happening. Like I told you before, if a person asks you why you don't have children, you just tell them, I don't know what is happening, or I know too little to be having children, or I know nothing to be having children. Why have children if I don't know what the heck is going on? I do understand that people are having children, but they are ignorant. If I ask them what is going on, they won't tell me. Some of them will tell me what other people have told them, but they have no way of verifying that what they've been told is actually true. Like, oh yeah, there's God. He created. Like, no, I've verified that. Prove to me that that is true. Prove to me that you are actually justified to believe what you believe. You're not just believing what you believe because you've been indoctrinated. You've been programmed, and humans are programmable. Prove to me that no, you are able to think for yourself and you did enough work to even reach that conclusion. You realize that people are just stupid. They don't know what the fuck is going on, and they're lazy to think. And some of them are just too stupid to think for themselves, because we're not all the same. You see? Stop assuming that people are the same. If you have the gift of intelligence, or, because, it's more like a curse. So if you've been cursed with intelligence, use it. Use that curse to your advantage. Don't try to conform. Try to be like everyone else if you are not like everyone else. It took me years for me to actually realize that I'm not like other people. I used to think I was just fucking crazy. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I so deaf? Why am I asking myself these questions? But I realized that no, these are the most important questions to us. Maybe other people are just not, on my level. And I was trying to dumb down, trying to be like them, but I'm not. So I must embrace my wokeness. I hate to use the word wokeness because now it's associated with stupidity, it's associated with, nonsense. I must embrace my enlightenment, own my enlightenment, try to embody my enlightenment rather than trying to be like everyone else. If I'm already enlightened, that's beautiful. So I should be enlightened. I shouldn't try to be like people who are not enlightened just because I'm outnumbered. That is being weak. Yes, I'm outnumbered. That's 100% true. We are outnumbered. But that doesn't mean that I must follow the crowd. There's never been a time in history where the majority of people have been right. Like it doesn't work that way. I don't know why. It's like people are easy to manipulate, and the people who are powerful use that to their advantage. Like, oh, right, let's try to manipulate these people so that we will be able to control the people who are able to see that we're full of shit. And they manipulate these average people who can't think for themselves. And because it's always been about numbers, they always win. Not because they're right, but because the majority of people are stupid. I remember Immortal said something interesting in one of his songs. It was like, you're not selling millions of records because you are a dope artist. No. You are selling millions of records because people are dumb. That's why. That's the only reason. Not that many people have reached your level of understanding. And even if they tried, some of them just couldn't. I think sometimes we take for granted how conscious we are to even understand what we understand. Like, other people are just ignorant, other people are just soft. No, they just can't reach this level of understanding. It's almost impossible. How? Ask yourself this question: does it even feel possible that you actually have realized that you live in a crazy world and actually the best thing to do is not have shoes? Like, it's, that it's true, but it seems like you weren't supposed to know this truth. You know what I mean? It is true, but it feels like you are not supposed to know this truth. That's why sometimes it's not easy to explain yourself to other people. You're like, but they just won't understand. They wouldn't get it. This is beyond them. I was talking to John. I think it's I've said this actually in the interview that I've heard. I hope you've watched it on the Antinatalism advocacy broadcast. Go and check it. I think that interview was actually the last video that was uploaded, so go and watch it. I was telling him that it's actually best that when we are talking to people who are not internationalists, we don't come across as these angry people. Who are trying to end existence, or we must not try to come off strongly or as if we're desperate or anything like that. We must try to approach them the same way that a man would approach a woman. I don't approach a woman like, ish, I'm horny, and no, I have to take everything step by step, because if I just if I'm gonna be too honest with her, she might create a wall between us. Like, nah, this guy is a jerk. So I must take it step by step. because human beings have been programmed. They come with baggages. A bit. It's not like you're dealing with a human that's just a human. They've been indoctrinated a lot, so you kind of have to find your way in. So you try to talk to them, in without like really pushing them away. Like, hey man, I think what's happening in the world right now is crazy. I've told myself that I'm not going to have a child because, hey, I've suffered, and I think a lot of people are suffering. Rather than saying, yeah, the world is evil and no one should have children. Like, people are not going to understand that. Antinatalism is the highest form of enlightenment. Like, once you understand that this world is fucking evil and no one should be brought into this world, you have reached the highest level of enlightenment. Like, that's it. Like, you got it. You that's what you came here to understand, that this shit is a prison. No one was going to come to you and actually tell you that it's a prison. You had to realize that by yourself. And once you start understanding that, that shows that you know that you deserve better. You don't deserve to live in a world where you have to pay in order to, exist in it. Where people are using each other for things, where true love doesn't exist. We love people because there is something that we're going to gain from them, rather than just loving them simply for existing. We're not really willing to help one another unless there's something to gain. We are very selfish. We don't care if what we're doing is harmful. Like, there are a lot of awful things that are happening in this world. So if you have reached the highest level of consciousness, you realize that no, the problem is that this world itself is fucked up. The problem is that life itself is wrong. But we do not want to acknowledge that. We keep on telling ourselves lies. And there are people who are deceiving us. There are people who are here to deceive us so that we do not see the truth. And they're deceiving us in many different ways, so that we'll remain distracted and never actually open our eyes and see that, oh, no, actually the problem is that this place itself is fucked up. The game itself is fucked up. The problem isn't us. The problem is the game itself. And we needed to realize that and stop bringing more people into this game. You see? So if you're an internatalist, you've reached the highest level of enlightenment. Like, that's it. You get it now. So you shouldn't even stress like, I'm lonely, blah. Like, yeah, you should be. That's a good thing. People are crazy. All right, people are delusional. So yeah, be alone. It's fine. It's not like people do things that make the most sense. That is why they hate you. You see, they don't make a lot of sense. If you try to ask your first people why they feel the way that they feel about certain things, and try to show them the truth, you realize that you're winning. Like, you make more sense than them, but that, they've been defeated mentally. You have to understand that if a person has been programmed to think a certain way for many years, even when you tell them the truth, it's gonna be hard for them to accept the truth, because that would mean that they've lost so many years of their lives believing a lie. So they would rather continue to believe that lie, especially if other people believe that lie. Like, you know what, this is all I've got. I remember saying this, that my mom is a Christian, and sometimes I talk to her about Christianity and try to show her why Christianity is wrong, and I can see that sometimes she gets it, but I hold back. And one of the reasons why I hold back is this: I'm like, she's been a Christian her whole life. If I make her realize fully that Christianity is not true, because I'll be able to do that, because I talk to her a lot of times, so of course I'll be able to make her see the truth. what am I going to offer her? Okay, Christianity is not true, fine, so what's left? What should she do now? So that kind of gives her hope. So I like, hey, whatever, man. At least I'm strong enough to be a nihilist. Not really a nihilist, by the way, but some people would think that I'm a nihilist. So I'm strong enough to be this way. And the reason why I say I'm not a nihilist is because I think nihilists want to see life in a negative light. You see? Like a nihilist wants to see life in a negative light. I don't want to see life in a negative light. What I want is the truth. If the truth is that life is bad, then that is the truth. Doesn't mean that I'm a nihilist. No. I've just discovered that life itself is wrong. I'm not a nihilist. I've just discovered the truth. I'm a realist. See? What I'm interested in is the truth. I'm not interested in life being bad. It would be good if life was good. If some alien came to me and started having a conversation with me and opened my eyes more and made me realize, no, actually this is good, I will come to you and say, yeah, no, I was wrong. I was wrong. Because I'm interested in truth. You see? That's what I'm interested in. Like, truth heals me. I don't care if I don't know how to explain this to people, because I don't feel like a lot of people are like me. When I say I'm interested in truth, I mean, even if the truth isn't one I don't even think that there's something that I prefer to be true, per se. Like, I just want the truth. That's like, if I know that I found the truth, I'm good. There have been so many situations where the truth wouldn't be what I would necessarily want, but I still felt good. Let's say I'm dating someone and she cheats, right? The truth is that she cheated. If I feel like she have cheated, and all the evidence that I have points to that being the truth. If she says, no, I didn't cheat on you, I love you so much, I'll never ever cheat on you, like I'll never ever cheat on you, I won't feel good. Until I realize that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. Like, no, actually, yeah, she's right. She didn't cheat. I'll feel good. But if she did cheat, and all the evidence points to that being the truth, and I actually find out that she cheated, I'll be free. Like, I'll feel good. That's how much I love the truth. It's not about what I prefer to be the truth. If something is the truth, I'm going to love it. I'm going to love the truth no matter what it is. You see? I love knowing. I'm a very curious person. I've always been a curious person. That's why I was able to relate to what the guy that I was telling you about in the beginning was saying in this series, the sinner. Like, he was so real. He was questioning everything. He wasn't just living life just like other people. He would question everything. I remember this other in this other scene, he was with this other detective who was pretending to be his friend. I think he said he told this detective that people they're not real. It's like they're trying to escape something, And he told that guy, like, I want to prove to you that people are not real. Like, they don't want to have real conversations about what is going on. Then he went to sit next to these other guys and started talking to them, asking them deep questions. What do you think is going on? Why do you think we're drinking? We're scared, right? Drinking because you're scared. Maybe you're afraid of dying, blah, blah, blah. And then those guys started becoming angry. Like, he was trying to have a much deeper conversation, because this conversation is actually necessary. We shouldn't avoid having conversation about death, because that's something that is inevitable and that's going to happen. So we must really understand what it even means to die. by having conversations with different people about death or about life itself. What does it really mean to exist? What are we afraid of as people? I haven't had that many conversations with people about these things, even though I actually like talking about these things. This is what I actually like talking about. But people are so afraid of having these kind of conversations. They're so shallow. You see, it's scary how shallow people are. Scary how shallow average people are. And that's why I was telling you that, most people are average. Most people are normal. And they are easy to control because of that. Because those people who are normal do not think that deeply. There's only few people who are actually, very conscious. And these people are not considered to be normal in our society. Even the guy that I was telling you about in this series, it was believed that there was something wrong with him, but there wasn't. He was real. He was more real than other people. And you see, if you're going to be different from other people, they're going to judge you. Even if, and this is what's crazy, even if what you're doing is actually more right, they will still judge you. Like, you can actually do something that makes the most sense and people are still going to judge you. That is the problem. Like, you can actually do something that everyone should be doing, but they still going to judge you. You see? Like, you can do something that will actually help everyone in the end, but they're going to judge you just because not everyone is doing that. So to be safe in our society, you must do everything that other people are doing. You mustn't even not do some things. No, do everything. That's how you fit in perfectly. You see? That's how you fit in. Once you show them that you are different, you automatically become a target. Automatically. It's the nail that sticks out that gets hammered. You're traumatized because you were different. To even understand what I'm saying, you have to be different. There are some idiots who don't get what I'm saying to you, even though it makes a lot of sense. Who will try to deny what I'm saying because they're operating at a very low level of consciousness. So you have to understand that you were different from the beginning. You might not have realized the truth when you were young. Some of y'all might not have realized the truth when you were young. I didn't realize the truth when I was young, but I was different the whole time. There was potential. So people sense that. They sense that you're different. So, of course, you automatically become a target. That's how it works. So you deal with it a lot. But that also helps you wake up more. Because you don't want to be comfortable in a world like this. That's why I was telling you that you stressing, you feeling alone, you feeling that's a good thing. Don't own that. You see, don't feel bad for being angry. Don't feel bad for being sad. Don't feel bad for being alone. Don't feel sad for being depressed. Don't feel bad for being anxious. Because people judge themselves for feeling that way. Like, I feel anxious. It means that there's something wrong with you. No, it doesn't mean that. That's exactly how you should feel in a world like this. You have to be a special kind of psycho to feel good when all this madness is happening in the world. You see? Your own intelligence must protect you. You see? Your own consciousness must protect you. It mustn't allow you to get mixed up with this world. It mustn't allow you to become one with this world. You see? You must be able to see if something is wrong with the world and say, hey, I'm not doing that. That's wrong. I'm not becoming one with this world. I'm not helping life continue in this world because this is madness. I do not know why your motherfuckers don't say that this is madness, but I'm able to see that this is madness. And the reason why I think that I'm right is because when I try to have a conversation with you, you give me the dumbest answers. Just like that lady gave a very stupid answer. We're having a child to have more love in our lives. What the fuck? After she was asked if she knows what this is, if she knows what's going on, and if it really will be fair for her to bring a child into this fucked up existence that she doesn't even understand, and she says, I'm having a child to have more love in my life. What the fuck do you mean by love? So you're bringing something into this world so that it will love you, because you brought it into this. You can see that response comes from a very limited sense of understanding, like it comes from a very limited sense of understanding. It's like the human animal cannot question things deeply. It's like there are very few human animals that are able to question things deeply, and that is why when they are asked deep philosophical questions, their brains usually start to glitch. Another thing that I've realized is that even people that are supposed to be intelligent, right? Even people that are supposed to be intelligent, if you're going to ask them really, really deep questions, their response will be stupid. That is why, if you're going to ask Jordan Peterson, for example, a question like that is really deep and that comes from an honest place, and that's a valid question, his response is going to be stupid. You see, he shines when he's being asked stupid questions that don't really matter. If you want to ask them real questions about real problems, you'll say that he's nowhere near where a lot of people think he is. Intellectually, he's not. We have to embrace our truth, That's the thing, like, you must actually embrace your truth. If you feel like something is the truth and you feel it desperately that it is the truth, and then you must embrace it rather than trying to convince yourself, to believe something that people think that is what's normal. See, that's one of the biggest problems that people make in general. You try to believe what is normal. You try to believe what other people believe, even when it doesn't make sense to you. So funny. I do understand that when you were young, of course you would try to fit in, but now you shouldn't be trying to fit in at all. It's either other people follow you in, or if they don't, fuck them. If you're right, you're right. You know that you're right. You're not living in that much fear. I know that a lot of people are living in fear because they're not even sure if what they believe is true. Because there's a difference between believing and knowing. I don't believe that what I'm saying to you is true. I know that it's true because I've done a lot of work. You see? I'm intellectually honest. Like, I had to find out what is inside me. Because as we experience life, we will get to store a lot of information inside, right? So now you have to work with that information. What's really going on? I have all this information. What does it mean? And that's how you get to the truth. It's good to match life's energy. Society doesn't want people to match life's energy. That is why they are against abortion, for example. Some people are against abortion. They are against abortion because they don't want to match life's energy. Life doesn't give a fuck about abortion at all. How many women had a miscarriage this year? This year alone. There are a lot of women who had. a miscarriage this year alone. So should we condemn life now because of that? I mean, we should condemn life, but I mean, should we condemn life because of that specifically and say, okay, you are life, you're wrong for the, I mean, it is wrong, but I mean, should we condemn life the way that we condemn people for aborting? Like, now you can't abort. So if life does, does the same to people, which should we condemn it the same way? Like, people shouldn't be allowed to choose when they get to go, but life doesn't have a problem taking anyone out at any time in any way. So people want to have control. Now they want to know when they're going to go, and they want to have control of that. But like, no, you can't have control. You see, we're not matching life's energy. Life shows us that no, there's no morality. It doesn't matter how you've been programmed. Horrible things can happen. You can get in a car with your siblings, your parents, all of them, like all your siblings, all your parents, and an accident happens and all of y'all die. That happens. It's not like life gives a fuck. It's not like the world is gonna stop and be like, yo, that's too fucked up. No. The world will go on as usual, as if nothing happens. It doesn't give a fuck. The universe is not gonna cry. The universe is not gonna, start behaving strangely because that happened. Horrible things do happen. Children get killed when there are wars. Innocent people do get killed when there are wars. The universe doesn't start glitching because these things are happening. You see, that's what I'm saying. As humans, we must match life's energy. What is going on? And we must know exactly how to respond. Because life itself is brutal. Life itself is wrong. It cannot just bully us and then we make stupid decisions, or we behave like slaves, or we respond poorly, just like that lady responded to what the guy was saying. Having children to have more love in our lives, like that's stupid. Like, it shouldn't even be a response. Like, if she should have just kept quiet. Because the response is just so poor. It's like a child was responding to that question. Like, the guy posed this question very well. It started with the existence of God. You think this God, someone who came up with this grand existence, you think you feel like you know what's going on in the world? You think you know why we're here, or what happens when we die? We don't know. And one day we're all going to die. So do you think it's fair to bring a child into this world and have to break it down to them that one day they're going to die? No, it's not fair. Why should we do that to someone? And then her response was, we're having a child so that we have more life. You see, it's not. Do you now you do understand that there's nothing wrong with you? It's just that people are not like they're not operating at your level of awareness. Just like I was telling you that the human animals are not the same. And I gave you the example with this dog. No, I didn't. Did I give you? No, I didn't give you this example. And I wanted to give you this example, when I was coming to record this video. So I was going somewhere. I decided to use a small passage. As I was walking in that passage, I saw a dog. It also was trying to get to the other side. It's like, shit. And it was a big dog. I was like, this thing is gonna bite me. Cause it's big. It's not gonna be afraid of me. These big dogs ain't afraid of people. So it's like, shit. But I kept on walking forward. And it kept on walking forward as well. At some point, we were going to meet. But I knew that if I turn back, it's going to think that I'm afraid of it. And it's going to attack me. It's going to take advantage of that. Dogs will attack you if they feel like you're afraid of them. So I had to act like I'm not afraid of it. And then it stopped and started and went back. I was like, whoa, shit. Seems like I'm safe now. And it reached this point where the passage was big enough for two people to, pass. So it stood on the other side when it got there. Just stood on the other side. Was its tail up? It wasn't afraid. And I passed. It didn't even look at me. It just stood on the other side because it reached a point where two people can pass. So it knew that I can pass it, Then it stood on the other side and I passed. And then it started to walk forward, right? I was like, fuck, this dog is brilliant. If it was any other dog, not any other dog, some dogs are smart, but most of the dogs that I know would have ran away or have tried to attack me, But that dog knew exactly what it was doing. It knew exactly what it was doing. Like, okay, let me give this guy space, I don't want anything to happen. I just want to pass. So I'm just going to stand on the side, let this motherfucker pass, and I'm going to pass. You know what I mean? Like, it was very rational, but not all dogs are like that. Some dogs are fucking stupid. And that's what we must realize about humanity. Not all humans are smart. Not all humans are conscious. If you assume that every human is like you're going to suffer a lot because they're not. You see? Don't assume that other humans are like you. There are some things that they can never understand. Even if they try to understand these things, they will never understand these things because they're not like you. They were not meant to understand these things that you understand. You see the problem? There are some dogs that would have never been able to do that. Some dogs, you can train them to perform certain tasks. Some dogs, you can't even train them at all. Like, they're untrainable. You just can't. They're too stupid. They're operating at a very low level of consciousness. They can't understand you at all. So some humans won't be able to understand you, even if you try to give different examples, even if you come up with different analogies. You see, they won't understand you because they're just not conscious enough to understand you, because we're not operating at the same level of awareness as people. There's a reason why you understand me, and there's a reason why some people do not understand me. You think it's about people not agreeing if they don't agree with me. Like, okay, people will not agree with anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it has to do. You think that people will not agree with everything, but no, it has to do with understanding. Do people understand what I'm saying? If they do understand, let me give you an example of someone who understands antinatalism but who's not an internationalist. Sam Harris. Sam Harris is not an internationalist, but he gets it. You can tell that motherfucker isn't dumb. Like, he gets, like, he knows that it's true, but he can't really, he can't really acknowledge that it's true. He's a very smart guy. I know some people do not like him because he debated with Bennett, but he's a very smart guy. Like, he's a very smart guy, and he's intellectually honest. So he gets it. I think he gets it, but he can't really, you can't really tell people that he's an internationalist because, like, it's, I think he gets it, but he can't just say it. He just can't, say, nah, I think it's wrong to have children, blah, 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 because he might lose a lot of followers. Because most of his followers have children. Most people in general have children. So he can't, like, really promote that philosophy, but it's true. There's some things that I do not say that I know are true, because that's not what I really stand for. Like, I think what he likes talking about is free will, consciousness, blah, blah. Like, he's like, okay, antinatalism is true, but why talk about it? Like, to him, it's not that important. Maybe that's why, but he gets it. So there are some things that I know well. these things are true, but I'm not going to talk about them because I do not want to confuse people, so I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about on this channel. That's the thing. So don't feel bad if people do not agree with you. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like they are just they're ignorant, but that's not the only reason. They're just not operating at your level of awareness, and there isn't much that you can do. Maybe they need to go through serious situations so that their eyes will be open. Because there are some things, when you go through them, you start understanding things much better. I remember I gave you this example. There was a lady who was against maid in Canada, right? Because this person was against maid, really against it. Then, her grandmother became sick, suffered a lot, and he actually wanted to be assisted. And she realized that she was wrong, you see, because of experience. So sometimes some people just need to go through some things to actually realize what is going on, because they will be forced to see the truth. You see, when you go through some situations, you're forced to see the truth. It becomes impossible for you to shy away from the truth. It's difficult situations that allow people to expand their minds. It's really difficult situations. Some of y'all became very conscious and started to understand antinatalism because of what you've went through. There was potential, yes, but you dealt with something, and then you started waking up and started realizing how things really work. It's like you were blind the whole time, and you took the red pill, and then you took the black pill. They have the white pill now, something like that. It's like you have to reach a point where you're feeling so much pain that you're not afraid of more pain, because you're already feeling more pain. It's like it's about to rain. Thank y'all guys.